Did any of you ever feel like possibly you had two callings? Or ever look back and realize that maybe your life has been guided by those two seemingly different callings? And somehow they were never in conflict. They were in harmony. That would be my story. It's a story of ministry and community and creativity, purpose and connecting people, and how those threads have been woven into everything that I do today. I was born to two college students. My parents lived community and faith every day. They fixed up homes and cars to survive, but they found ways to learn all their neighbors' names, all their kids' names, all kinds of rich community. As a young boy, I watched them minister to people, get to know everybody, and then buy and rent properties and sell properties to make it. Along the way, I learned that real estate wasn't just about profits. There's me, born my dad's senior year. But it was about connecting people. So between all of that, there was fun. One of the things that my dad did was he led lots of these choirs, and I was a baby that looked about like that in the bassinet underneath one of those sometimes. So I grew up playing around in these things and playing a lot of music and being put on records and driving wiggly cars because my dad drove really wiggly. But fun, fellowship, and music kind of made our lives work. Daddy bought a little $16,000 piece of lakefront property because his grandpa died and left him some acreage. And so we learned the rhythm of the lake, of fellowship, ministering to other people, and serving other people through worship, because I started playing guitar at age 8 and leading worship by the 5th grade. Interestingly enough, Dad still ministers to people and plays in the orchestra. I just learned that leadership wasn't something you aspired to, it was something you did out of love every week, serving others, discovering their needs and how to meet them. This is me at the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. I had my first real taste of leadership by recruiting 20 agents and creating what's called a college unit directory, creating a team. That experience taught me something profound. Helping other people get their goals done, when you do it with love and purpose, it was ministry, and I saw passion and systems bring the best out in other people, and it created a top 5 national team 2 years in a row, to the place where my parents, when it was graduation day, they wanted to come see the building, see where did you do this, where did you win awards, and that sort of thing. Well, so we showed it to them, there it was. And after graduation, I began in the executive search business, as well as I was asked to serve as a youth minister in this church down in Thomasville, 2.5 hours away. It was a 5-hour round trip. The pastor explained they really didn't have a youth ministry yet. The kids went to 7 or 8 different schools. The kids didn't sit together and know each other. And for the first time, I saw how ministry and systems to help people care about each other were complementary callings, because both required vision, both required empathy, both required helping people grow and to who they were meant to be, get the best out of them. And I enjoyed helping them. That youth group gelled, and we had a lot of fun. They got so connected. We did so many fun things together. That church to this day still has a meaningful youth group, but also every year has Youth Sundays where the youth lead the services in their homeostasis states. But I loved watching them grow and mature emotionally and mature spiritually. Here was an interesting little fact. I was leading worship at a large singles group, around 600 singles coming every Thursday night at a large church in Raleigh, and enjoyed that aspect of serving. And my best friend challenged me to write down all the things that you didn't want and all the things that you did want in the way of a mate for life. I said, well, somebody that would help me, somebody that would see disciples the way I see them, musician, A girl out there named Stephanie began smiling at me quite a bit, and before long, we were dating. And 14 months after we met, we were married, and she's still feeding me with that same infectious smile today and still helping with projects. I went into seminary part-time while I was working in business the first 6 years, and in truth, those 6 years taught me balance, how to serve faithfully as well as provide practically. We did so well later when we went to seminary full-time and let the business go. I started buying foreclosures in 7 different counties and keeping 3 or 4 projects going. And we used a mathematical formula to make sure that everybody got their profits to the lenders, the banks, and the attorneys, and the investors, and ourselves. But we actually did well enough to actually buy 2 new houses in addition to having over 100 flips. This is one of them that we still rent out in Raleigh, and another one here that we held for 30 years and sold and rolled to something else. The book is on Amazon, by the way. Glad to email you a free color copy of the book that tells you how I learned this from my parents and how I did this. But a church out west asked us to come and help them after my brother got married. and I served as what's called fine arts pastor. And we started with a little group of 9 and grew it to over 40 in the orchestra. We built choir groups and musical groups and children's groups and things. And we had a ball, including helping in their casual service. And we flew my parents and my grandparents out there to take them to the Grand Canyon. So it was a great family vacation. God gave us this house with these 18-foot glass walls up on the top of a mountain where you could see 100 miles. It was really wonderful. But something changed, and that is we got pregnant. So we knew we needed to move back to the Triad to have some community that would help with the baby more. And so we moved back where our little boy grew up, back near our area. And we served in this church that needed help putting on a large Broadway-style Christmas musical. They called and said, it's kind of urgent. We got to do it in less than 2 months. We got to publicize this. Can you do a big living Christmas tree? And anyways, we enjoyed it all, every exhilarating minute of it. And we loved the pastor, and we still keep up with him. We still go stay with him. We still go have coffee and lunch with him. But health took me back to Asheville. Chronic angina didn't work well when you're on a camera every day. So when I came back here, I got a new sense of purpose in real estate and executive search and renewal. In Asheville, I joined an executive search firm of over 150 executives who are experienced, and I was asked to join their training program after about 5 months, and they said, Dave, strangely, you're a #1 biller. Can you help teach us what you're doing? And so you can see these training videos on my website. But I think it was really because I just cared deeply about a person. You were not an object to get placed into a position. You were a person with a family and kids, and I was concerned about all of it. But before long, we were overseeing 25 doors and 3,000 guests per year in long-term rentals. That's the house that I bought to raise my little boy on, still live in. This was us traveling to England and to Paris and to Sydney and to Singapore. But at any rate, I fixed up cars the way my parents did, and I started fixing up houses like my parents did. And here's just some of them. Some of them won awards, some of them didn't. It's kind of something that I did. Mom and Dad did it to drive. I just did it to have fun in. And the houses, most of these we still own today, but we fixed them up. Before long, we started making offers on multifamily properties, and we built a team of people that included CPAs, Corey Whitesell, who has a master's in taxation from Brigham Young, and Jonathan Way, who has a master's in finance from Rutgers. And we wanted all of the investors to see to the penny what and how they would earn and how their earnings would help others. So this would be a very CPA-driven practice. And what we started doing was making offers on properties that were growing in cities that would become rather magical. So this just shows you, the question is, would you buy a block of downtown if you knew the city was going to grow? We wanted to make sure that investors would see metrics. So we looked at lots of metrics, and you can kind of see those. This is national average, Dallas, but this is Sherman, so we bought a block of Sherman. We built a 151 idea playbook to make community connection normal, not novel, because we believe residents should feel known, connected, and appreciated, and supported where they live. Today, passive, purposeful, and peaceful investing is our mission to help others experience that. The truth is, as I've mentioned before, most apartment dwellers don't know 2 or 3 neighbors they could call if they were in a pinch to care for their kids, if they got called away in an emergency. We want to change that. Most apartment dwellers leave every 18 months to go find another place, and I think you could say maybe that's financial, but I think it's because of community. They lack it. So if we can create that connection in over 1/3 of America today, that to me is a calling worth getting behind. Nothing sums up this concept more than to say, join a movement, be a part of a homework club, because nonprofit tutors will give tutoring to your kids. Our church does it to inner city kids in Hendersonville, but we can do it to apartment communities throughout the land for what it's worth. There's also nonprofits that will be the welcome wagon, welcome and greet each guest and make sure that a social at least once a month of appreciation goes once a month. For me, I want a child or a kid appreciation event such as a pancake breakfast or a pizza dinner or something like that. Every other month they get to experience pancakes and pizza and that sort of thing in these communities. So help us do that across the land. And by closing, I would say my favorite quote by Margaret Mead sums it up. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, nothing else ever has. Thank you. If you have any questions, I can answer them. Thank you. Back to you, Robbie.